Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 1995 classic Sylvester Stallone film, Assassins. The film is directed by Richard Donner and stars, of course, Sylvester Stallone. We have Antonio Banderas and Julianne Moore. Now, the film follows Stallone's character, Robert Rath. He is considered by many to be the greatest assassin in the world. However, he's getting to the point now where he's had enough. And he wants out, essentially. There is a new, young, up-and-coming assassin, Miguel Bain, played by Antonio Banderas. They cross paths on a contract together. And then Miguel essentially decides that Sylvester Stallone's Robert Rath has to go. In order for him to be number one, he has to go. But on this final job that Stallone's character has planned, he has to kind of team up with Julianne Moore's character, Electra, who has stolen some kind of disc that has got some, secrets on there that people are prepared to pay quite a lot of money for. So he wants to get this money, split it with her, and stay alive. Right, what are my thoughts on Assassins? Now, this was at a period in Stallone's career in the 90s where he was kind of hit and miss with a lot of his movies. For every cliffhanger, there would be, a stop on my mom will shoot type of thing. It was very much up and down in the 90s, Stallone. And I remember when this came out, it didn't do particularly well and it wasn't well reviewed. And while I did see it around the time it was released, I don't remember going to the cinema to see this one, but I do remember seeing it not long after it came out. And I remember, thinking it was okay, but just okay sort of thing. It didn't kind of stand out as like, a typical Stallone film. It's a long time now since I've seen this, so after rewatching it for this review, it's probably a good 20 years maybe since I've seen this film. I can kind of look at it with different eyes, mature eyes sort of thing. And while I think this is a perfectly watchable and acceptable action thriller with, a veteran behind the camera such as Richard Donner, a really fabulous director, who has done horror. He did Superman, The Omen, the Lethal Weapon films, Scrooge. I mean, he's done it all. He really is a very, very good director. I mean, I would probably put him definitely as one of my favourites. So it's handled very, very well, expertly even, you would say so, behind the camera by Richard Donner. It all feels very accomplished, it all feels... it's got a steady hand behind it. I think where this film kind of fails is it lacks personality for a start. And a lot of that comes from Stallone, unfortunately. He, at times in this film, looks completely and utterly uninterested. To say he delivers his performance unenthusiastically is an understatement. And I didn't get on with his character a great deal here. And there's early on in the film, it's basically just Stallone. And his inner monologue was driving me round the bend. I've never spotted this before. But because he's on his own for the first quarter of the film, everything that he does, he explains what he's doing. He talks about it. And he's really talking to us, the audience member. Clearly, and I don't know who decided this was a good idea, whether it was Stallone, whether it was Richard Donner, I don't know. Whoever's thought idea it was an imbecile. It was just a terrible idea because it gets on your nerves very, very quickly and it treats the audience like an absolute imbecile. And I really didn't like it. When he gets together with Julianne Moore's character, Electra, it works much better because that inner monologue is gone, thank God, because they're talking to each other only in that sense, because there's not a great deal of chemistry between these two either, Stallone and Julianne Moore. And there's supposed to be a bit of a romantic interest there as well, and it's just non-existent. You just couldn't see these two characters getting together. They are chalk and cheese in every way. The best thing about this film is Antonio Banderas as Miguel Bain. His performance is so wonderfully over the top. It's hard to not enjoy it. It's full of charisma. It's full of energy. It's a caricature. It's a cartoon character, if you like, his performance. But it's undeniably the best thing in the film. If we'd have had somebody else doing a performance similar to Stallone's, this film probably would have been close to being unwatchable. Thankfully, we get Stallone's character one end of the scale, very very dull, I suppose, his character, and then you've got Antonio Banderas completely at the other end of the scale, wonderfully vibrant and over the top. They are, two sides of the same coin, I suppose, is what I mean by that. But beyond that, I mean, the action is decent. It's not bad. I mean, you'd expect that from Richard Donner. There's a couple of standout sequences that I quite enjoyed. I like the whole taxi scene where Stallone kind of picks up Antonio Banderas' character on the way to the airport. Uses his veteran skills to figure out where he's going to be. He steals a taxi and picks him up. And that whole first meeting and stuff is really good. And then the attempt to kill each other and stuff after that was fun as well. So I mean, it's not what I would describe as a bad film. There are just some bad things in it, and I can completely understand why this wasn't reviewed well when it first came out, or why it didn't do particularly well at the box office. It's definitely not one of Stallone's finest films. I don't know if it was a creative choice to kind of give a performance as he gave this in this. It just lacked so much personality from him, and he did look uninterested. And I don't know if that was on purpose or if it was just the route he decided to go down with his character. But yeah, I mean, it was nice revisiting it. It's not one that I will fondly be remembering for Stallone and his filmography. But let me know your thoughts on Assassins. Let me know any other Stallone films in the 90s that you think are worth revisiting. And I will, of course, see you back here on the channel with plenty more content very, very soon.